Welcome to this video wherein we are talking about the characteristics of big data, and we want to understand why big data is actually called big data, and if I'm dealing with any kind of data, is that data big? Should I call that as a big data? Should I be using that big data tools and tricks to handle it? Right now, it depends upon what kind of data you are getting, how you're going to store it, or how you're going to deal with it. Now, majority of the time when you're dealing with the data, there are some V's which are defined as for big data, and this is called as 4 V's of big data. Now, what are these 4 V's of this big data? So what are these 4 V's of this big data, which is called as volume, velocity, variety, and veracity? Now, let's understand each of them one by one, and we'll understand what exactly these 4 V means. Now, first thing first, we talk about the volume of this data, and then volume is something which is majorly defining the big data. So I would say if you want to decide it as a major factor, you can say that if the volume is very high, then I'm calling it as big data. Now, this big data is actually coming from, most of the time, it's from unstructured data set. It is coming from the data streaming from social media. It is coming out from the tweets which people are doing. It is coming out from the pictures which people are clicking. It is coming out from the tweets which people are doing. It is coming out from the hashtags. It is coming out from the likes and Pinterest. People are sharing it. People are asking for the replies, emails, texts, and whatnot. Right? Every device is generating data, and it is generating in so huge amount. The amount is not huge, the number of times it is being generated is very huge, and if you combine that together, it becomes very, very huge data. So if the data is very huge, if the data is very, very big, then I would say this is turned out to be the first V of big data, and I call it as volume. Now, I just wanted to give you the glimpses of it. There is 40 zettabyte of data is being created by 2020, by the end of 2020. 40 zettabyte, which is very, very huge. There are 6 billion people on the earth. They would be having mobile phones, and some of them might be having dual mobile phones. There are like millions of apps people are using, and there is a huge permutation and combination of different apps which people are using, and you might be realizing that they are just picking up your data and storing it. Now, every app is sensing like how many calls you have made, how much SMSs you got, where exactly you're going, your location analysis, your location data, and then they are keeping a track of when did you open up the particular app, how much time you stayed over there, and whatnot. Right? Every time, even when you think that you are not generating data, that is a complete lie. That you are generating data every minute. When you open up a system, there is a log which gets generated, which is of only 20 KB or 30 KB, and it's been sent to Microsoft, that how much time you have spent. If you come up with an error on any app, then probably that error log is also being sent to their respective operating system provider, so that they can analyze the results. When you take your laptop and then you open up, when you've enabled that application which says that detect my device or track my device, when you are applying CCTV footage, when you are clicking a photograph and storing it in the cloud, every time you are generating the data, and we are not aware of it. Now, it is estimated that that by now 2020 we are actually generating 2.5 quintillion bytes every day, right? And most of the companies at this point in time in 2020, we are having approximately 100 terabytes of data, like, which is being stored there. So we can assume that how much data is being generated and how much data is being stored right now, right? So the next V, right, and the next V, which is very important while defining the big data, is called variety of the data. Now, when I say variety of the data, there are different formats of the data. Different companies are using different formats of the data, which are like some people are like, some companies are generating like data which is in SQL format or structured format. Some are generating in XML format. Some are generating the data in Avro format or Parquet format, or some people are generating just the links or some images or some voice commands what people are talking. And nowadays there are some devices which are like Alexa, Google. They also record whatever you talk to them and how you responding to them and what kind of questions you are asking, so that next time when you ask the question they will have the answers. Now you can see that the people are just doing multiple stuff. There are wireless devices, there are violent devices, there are health monitoring which is happening. It is one of the estimation that approximately 4 billion hours of video is being watched on YouTube, and that data is also being recorded. What kind of content, what was the tag on it, how much time you spent over there, right? Everything is being recorded. I just wanted to give you the glances of the data which is being generated every minute. You can see this is slightly old figure, but you can see that Facebook processes almost 350 GB of data every minute. There are 100 million emails which are being generated every minute. 72 hours of videos are being uploaded on YouTube every minute, and this is old data, right? So these figures might have increased a bit now. So the variety comes in many formats. You may have emails, video, audio, stock, ticker data, unstructured text documents, natural language processing data, images, URLs, videos, GIFs, and then it's very difficult to manage and merge these kind of data, and it's governing is almost impossible for this kind of data because it's coming into different format altogether, right? There are different organizations, there are different ways to handle big data. The next thing which we want to talk about, the velocity of the data. Now this velocity of the data is when the data comes in very huge quantity, though it is coming in very small chunks. Maybe it is coming in 20k or 30k or 40k bits or text bit or byte probably, but they are coming in millions and billions of numbers, and that's where the total data becomes very huge. And then every trading session in New York Stock Exchange approximately captures 1 terabyte of trade information almost every day, and you can see that it just keeps on increasing. It is the data of approximately 2015 or 16, I would say. Now by 2016 it was projected that 18.9 billion network connections will be there, and there will be almost 2.5 connection per person on the earth, and then people have got multiple ways to interact, right? There are various cars also which are having different sensors which are generating data. Even your flight details is also getting generating 1 petabytes of data per flight. So that data is required for any kind of various kind of analytics, and you use it for improving the situations and not just not wasting the data. You wanted to utilize that data so that you can improve the performance of the flights. Now the next thing which we want to talk about is something which is very much closely associated with velocity, and that is called veracity of the data. Now what this veracity is all about? Veracity is uncertainty of the data. Now what is this uncertainty of the data? Let me give you one example. So on 16th November 2016, I believe, around 8:30 p.m. the whole nation India got to know that the demonetization happened, and people start yelling on Facebook, they start yelling or talking something on Twitter, people just using this tweet called hashtag demonetization, and suddenly people who forgot their password, there are millions of requests for resetting the passwords, and there are billions of people who are just talking around the world about the same thing. They are commenting, they're liking, they're sharing the different kind of stuff. Twitter was not expecting this data from India. Suddenly they got to know something big has happened in India, because lots and lots of information is actually flowing from India. A lot of people are tweeting in a particular geography. That means that something big has happened, and they were not expecting this huge chunk of the data, because as the time passes by, you're reaching towards 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and then around 2 a.m. in the morning, the whole data is actually close to zero or very minimal. I'm not saying it's zero, it has to be very minimal. But suddenly, because of this event, people just did not stop like talking about it, they just keep on tweeting multiple things, so that the data which was supposed to be very minimal by 11 p.m. or something like that, people just keep on tweeting about it, and then it becomes very very high, which is more of a give you the fourth this example gives you the fourth the property of big data, which is called as veracity, wherein you have uncertainty of the data. You don't know how to deal with it, and it is very very much uncertain. So veracity deals with the biases, noises, the abnormality in the data. Sometimes it is less, sometimes it is high, and it's the biggest challenge in this data. And it also keeps on giving you different kind of figures, which we generally call it as dirty data in your system, and you want to deal with it. It's the biggest challenge of the data. Now you must be wondering, like, these are the four properties I understood, but who is generating this data, right? Who is generating the data? How come this data is so huge right now? And I wanted to tell you that we are the one who are generating the data. So we are creating scientific instruments which are recording information. We have mobile devices which are not only generating our call data, missed call data, or outgoing call data, SMSs data, or our like roaming data, but they are also, I'm having different apps which are picking up my data, which is coming from each and every devices. Sometimes you have dual SIM phones as well. Sometimes we are using a particular app, we are not on the network. So everything is generating data. And then we are living in the age of social media, wherein you have Flickr, YouTube, you have Twitter, Facebook, which just keeps on generating data, and then people comment on it, then people like it, they store that into their series and whatnot. You have got so much of data which is being generated right now. Even if you travel so from one location to another, you do reservations, whether you've been there or not, how much time you stayed over there, everything is generating data. Even your bank account, your credit cards, your debit card, your phone calls, your SMSs, your WhatsApp messages, everything is generating data, right? So we are the one who are generating data, and we are the users of that data, and we want to analyze that data and wanted to make inferences out of it. Now the importance of big data, the real issue is not that you are acquiring the large amount of data, it's what you want to do with that data, which matters, right, which counts. And the hopeful vision is that organizations will be able to take out the data from any source, harness the relevant information and analyze it, and find the business answers which will enable them to reduce the cost of the products, which will reduce the time reductions, like how to improve the performance of railways or the buses. New product development, which can attract more and more customers, which can make them sell the products more and enhance the customer experience, which will make them understand how to improve their services, how to optimize their offerings, and also they want to take smart business decisions, right? And I would rather use a different word, which is called as informed decisions, rather than taking only decisions, and rather than taking the gut feelings into the account. They wanted to have the informed decision, like business decision making in the process. So this is the main motive of all the organizations which are dealing with big data. Now there are challenges of big data, right? And these challenges are that if you can collect that data, how would you store it, how would you share it? It's so much huge volume that you can't even deal with it. And then but when you're collecting data, there are so many privacy violations are there. If you can analyze that data, or you can you want to do analysis on that data, then you do research on the data. And we also talked about that big data is something which is very huge, and it cannot let your traditional applications work on it, which makes that every process so difficult that you can't share it, you can't store it, you can't visualize it, you can't analyze it, and you can't do research on it, and it goes into a loop and you can't do anything with it. Now that's where the data science, the big data tools, now that's where big data tools comes for the rescue. And we'll talk about those tools, what they can do, and what are the things which they should be which they should be doing in order to solve these kind of problems. So in the next video we're gonna see like how big this big data is, and we also want to talk about right, which all organizations are using this big data and what they want to do with it. And then we will peel off one more layer and we'll move towards the analytics part of it. I'll see you in the next video. A very informative session is coming up. I want you to stay tuned with me. I'll see you in the next video.